Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mad Mullet Jack.
Mad Mullet Jack. What a game. What a game. And I think before we even describe it at all, let's just pull up the trailer so you guys can get a feel of what this game is. Uh Essentially, you're playing as Mullet Mad Jack. So did we say it backwards? I think it's Mullet Mad Jack.
Is it
Yeah, it's Mullet Mad Jack. Yeah.
Mullet Mad Jack?
Yeah, it's kind of awkward to say it that way. I think
Yeah,
Mad Mullet Jack would have been a little bit better.
I feel like Mad Mullet Jack would have done way better.
I agree. Let me confirm that it is actually Mullet Mad Jack, because if it's not, then I'm just throwing everybody in for a loop here. But I'm pretty certain it's Mullet Mad Jack. Let me see. It's in my library because I played the demo today. And yeah, it's Mullet Mad Jack. That's so weird. That's so weird.
That is weird. They should totally flip that.
But that's okay, because let's go ahead and pull up the trailer of this insane looking game for everybody to enjoy. And so right off the bat, you'll see it's fast paced. It's just a first person shooter. You just shoot a bunch of stuff and upgrade a bunch of stuff. And that's basically it. It has this anime style. So if you're just listening in Spotify, it's got this futuristic but vintage look of anime. And to be honest, it's just crazy. Dave, how would you describe it in any other way?
I'm gonna say so. Yeah, guys, if you're just listening, on the Spotify, or shout out Arena, listening on Apple. I know we needed to shout that one out.
Yeah.
I would have to put it at like an 80s synthwave kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's very, very like cyberpunkish, but also like Adam said, like old school Japanese anime. It's a very unique style.
And that's what kind of I kind of avoided this game for a while when I saw it like pulling up in the trailers, because we look on IGN and see what trailers like kind of catch my eye, and I was like, this one doesn't look all that good. And then I finally clicked and I was like, this looks stupidly fun, and I kind of want to try it. So like I said, essentially it is the first person roguelike. Actually, I didn't realize there's a roguelike until I got into it. It's made by Hammer 95, which is a developer group with only like 20 people working on it. So not a huge developer, but not the smallest. We've kind of talked about. And it's set the game itself is set in 2090, so it's supposed to be set in the future. But like I said, it has that vintage anime feel to it, that cyberpunk. And essentially the storyline is nothing crazy. And I don't think that's what they're going for this game. Like they just want action-packed, stupid and silly like mechanics to it. It's supposed to be silly. The world has been taken over by robillionaires. Robillionaires. So that's who you're trying to fight and save people from. And the first, like, I don't know if it's going to change or anything, but the demo I played is you're saving an influencer with 2 billion followers, and that's your goal. And so you become part of the Peace Corps, and you get selected, and you're saving this influencer during a live stream. And like to keep it interesting, like you have to kill as many of the what do they call them?
Robillionaires.
Not the robillionaires, the moderators trying to stop you. And so you're trying to stop these robot moderators. And the way it works is you only get 10 seconds to live. Like that's the main premise of the game. And each kill grants you more time, and depending on the difficulty you select, you get more or less time. But there's also a leisure mode. So if you want to just play this without dying or like worrying about the time, you can do it that way. And the demo I had played had 2 bosses, and each boss was at 10 different floors, essentially.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen here, and I think what Adam's talking about, the game mechanic is really, really cool. So you are this is man and internet have merged together into this being. That's correct?
I think that's the Robillionaire.
Okay.
Billionaires. So they're the ones that took over the world. It's like an AI that converged the two, I think. I could be wrong. I think you might be.
Because
I
what
don't
I
know, to
what
be
I
honest.
read
Yeah.
is that you are a man where the man and internet have merged together, and this life form that you are needs a hit of dopamine every 10 seconds or it
You're right.
dies. So
Yep.
basically, what Adam's talking about is you start the level with 10 seconds on the clock, and for
Mhm.
every kill that you get, it adds seconds to your life timer. And if the life timer runs out, what I'm assuming is that your run on that level is over, correct?
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
and so it will restart you, so after 10 floors, like, if you don't make it to 10, you'll go back to 1. If you're at, like, 12, you'll go back to 10, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, or 11. So that's
Yeah.
how it works.
I mean, I think it's a really interesting game mechanic, and you know me, I'm not really like a biggest like um advocate of like just running in and blasting. You know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
think in this type of game where it's like encouraged and you almost have to play that way, I think it's very, very interesting game mechanic that there is gonna be no like, oh, I'm gonna hide in the corner and wait for this guy to walk around the corner. I mean, you need to go in there, guns blasting, and just
Mhm.
murder stuff, which I think is a pretty interesting mechanic.
And it's cool, like, if you don't wanna play that way and you just wanna experience the story, like, you can I mean, I don't know why, like, yes, the story is fun, I guess, but for me, like, it's the gameplay mechanics kinda selling this game for me, whereas, like, the story's kinda, like, third to me, I guess, but if you don't wanna play that way, you can turn off the timer and do a leisure mode and just kinda take your time throughout each floor, each level, each boss, which I think is really cool. In terms of weapons wise, there's in let's go yeah, weapons wise, I got to use the shotgun, pistol, sword, and SMG. So nothing like groundbreaking in terms of that, but that was just in the demo. Like that could
Yep.
be changed throughout the full game. Um, and one thing I did not like about this game is like the dialogue after each floor was kind of repetitive. Like I heard the same dialogue over and over.
Yep.
And that again, it could be just because it's the demo and they don't have much loaded into it. But other than that, I thought it was fun. I think they do a really good job nailing the art style with this game. Like I think they hit it like perfect on what they were going for. Um, Really, other than that, it's fun. Like it's nothing crazy that I'm like this is gonna be the best game I've ever played. It's gonna be a cheaper game that if you want to just try something like this, like do it. Essentially. And then in terms of upgrades, like every floor has different upgrades. Like so after you beat a floor, you can upgrade, and there's 50 plus different upgrades that you'll be able to use. So
Yeah, I mean the aesthetic looks really really cool. I'm a fan of that 80s synth wave. I love that stuff. It definitely brings in the old school anime vibe. I like the art style too. I think the art style is very unique. My one question though, and I've looked at a little bit of gameplay, and I'm curious to know this since you played the demo. How are the hitboxes? Because I will say that the game looks kind of cool. It looks interesting. It looks cool. The vibe is great. The aesthetic is nice. I understand the concept of the game, but the just actual combat that I've seen in the gameplay looks a mild bit clunky. And you know that I never want to throw shade on a smaller developer. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but it looks a little janky.
I'm gonna be honest. I will kind of agree with you in terms of like when it gets too hectic, I don't realize what I'm shooting. I'm just pulling the trigger a bunch of times, and so the way it works is like your left trigger is a slide slash kick, and then your right trigger is like a shoot. And so I just kept going back and forth between the shoot and slide, and I would either kick or shoot, slide, kick, shoot, slide, kick, shoot. And I honestly don't really know what I was hitting. All I was worried about was getting to the other side before the timer ran out. Like I did not care about like yes, like when I did find some times where I was slowing down a little bit and like actually aiming, the more I kind of got used to the game and how it played. I felt like it didn't feel like there was weight to the guns, if that makes sense. Like it everybody kind of died. Um I can kind of see what you're saying though. Like it almost felt like you didn't have to really aim, but I don't
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. I'm like, I hate to kind of like, I hate to kind of talk down, especially on small developers, but there's a couple times when I'm looking at gameplay where I'm like, in most games, that's clearly not a hit. Like that, I feel like these hitboxes are kind of just like, and I get it because like you need to get these kills fast, so they need to be kind of bigger, but like still at a certain point, like I still want a game that's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good button masher, but I mean, like at some point, like it's too much. Like I want something with a little fluidity more than just smash the crap out of these buttons until I get to the other side of the room.
I will say though, I had the shotgun for my longest run that I did, and I feel like that was probably part of it. When I did have the sword, like I felt like I was taking my time a little bit more aiming and things like that. Same with the pistol. SMG, not really. I was just going like going crazy. Like so those like the
I'm sorry,
shotgun and the
you were
SM.
doing what with the SMG?
No thanks. Is that better?
That's great.
um, but the pistol and the sword took a little bit more effort. The shotgun and the SMG, like I just felt like I was like pulling the trigger a bunch of times, and like other than that, the bosses though, however, like they did take a little bit more, because there's no time limit during the bosses. Like you just essentially it's like, oh, the internet went out. It's kind of the saying, and the timer goes out, and so you have time to defeat the boss. And like I felt like I actually had to aim and like hit the boss, if that makes sense. And so boss level wise, I felt like that felt fine. But I see what you're saying. I felt kind of that same. It's like, did I actually hit this person? But he's dead now. Like I thought I hit him, but now he's still alive. Things like that.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. This could be, this could just be a pure case of the demo. They could have, easily kind of nerf the difficulty on the demo just a little bit, make it a little bit more easier, a little bit more user friendly, just to get through the demo, because we've seen that before. As you guys know, we talked about Bears in Space, and shout out the guys, the devs of Bears in Space, who actually saw our episode, got back to us and said, yeah, we kind of we did nerf the difficulty on the demo just to make it a little bit easier. You're not going to have all this stuff, or it's going to be a little bit harder. So I mean, it could be the same situation. It could just be the demo, that kind of nerfed some stuff, made the hitboxes a little bit bigger, make it a little bit more user friendly. So I could be totally wrong, but just hoping that the actual launch of the game, the difficulty might be ramped up just a little bit.
I hope so too. I played, so like I said, I think there's five different difficulties. There's a difficulty that doesn't have the timer. There's the easy difficulty. There's the normal difficulty. There's one above that, and then there's the really hard difficulty. I played in the one above normal, if that makes sense. And so maybe that's why. Maybe I could have played a little harder and things like that, but I didn't. And I thought it was fun. Is it a game that I'll get? Probably at some point. Just to be like, oh yeah, I've beat it, I've played it. I had fun with it. It's one worth checking out if you're into that kind of, like Dave said, the 80s synthwave and the fast-paced roguelikes. Like it's unique, especially. There's definitely a unique game to check out.
Definitely should be a unique game. I like the aesthetic. I love that stuff. The concept behind the game with the time, I mean, it's incredibly unique, something that I haven't really seen before. And price point on this game, I can't imagine super high. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put a price out there right now. I would say 19.99, 20. Yeah, so somewhere around $20 probably.
And it's supposed to come out sometime this year. They don't have a release date on it yet, I believe. I think it says coming soon on the Steam page.
Yes.
Yep, it says coming soon on the Steam page. But hopefully soon if you want to check this one out. It's got a sideways up thumb from me as I played it.
I have not played the demo, so I'm just gonna double up on Adam's sideways up thumb. But yeah, it looks really really cool. And you guys know, I mean, 20 people is still a small dev, so if you wanna jump over and show them some love, we know we love supporting the smaller devs here.